Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday to you guys. We're going to have so much fun today. If you didn't know, if you didn't put decorations up yet, it's National Coffee Day. National Coffee Day. So you're going to hang up all your coffee cups all over your apartment or your house and sprinkle some coffee for some good luck into your sink, because we are going to make a coffee rubbed filet mignon with a fun yogurt cheesy sort of schmear that's going on the bottom of the plate. They call it the yogurt cheese. We're going to talk about that later. And then we're going to do these pearls of sweet juiciness of pomegranates with the mint, and it's going to go on top. This is going to look like you went to a restaurant and you made this in a restaurant for patrons, that you're selling this steak. It is so good. It is so easy to make, and it looks so pretty. So first of all, welcome. I'm Chef Jay. I am one of the chefs here at ButcherBox and Truffle Shuffle, and I do easy recipes for busy people with a dash of gratitude, because you work so hard. When you get to come home, you should have fun in the kitchen. You're nourishing your mouth and your body, but you should nourish your soul too. As you chop, you should be happy. And I also cook on TV. I've been on Good Morning America a couple times this summer already, and Pix 11 and Good Day New York and all of those fun things. And I'm just super grateful to cook with you guys. But before we get started, let's talk to two amazing people here. We have Roxy and Francine. They are our chat support. Hello, Roxanne and Francine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. They're here to answer all of your questions for you. So I'm in New York City. This is my kitchen. My apartment's probably this size all together. But I want to know, where are you guys from? And if you're cooking with me, tell me where you're from. I actually just got off the plane from Texas. I was in Austin visiting my niece since Thursday. And I'm super excited to cook a home-cooked meal. Where are you guys cooking from? Put it into the comments right over there. What's your name and where you're cooking from? Hi, Susan from Fort Myers, Florida. It's great to see you, Susan. Susan, I think we cooked together before. It's good to see you back. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl, how far is Austin from where you are in Texas? Texas is awesome, by the way. I had so much fun. Janice, we're going to get you that recipe right now. Well, Roxy or Francine, can you put the recipe link on there for us? All right, it's up there already. They're like speedy. They're the best. Francine and Roxanne are the best. Roxy, okay. Yes, we have. I know that, Susan. Hello, Brian from San Antonio, Texas. How far is San Antonio, Texas as well? Oh, 35-minute drive. That's awesome. All right. So Catherine from Palm Springs, California. Palm Springs is so awesome, by the way. It's a fabulous place to go as well. We have a New Hampshire in the house. magical Orlando. Is Goofy and Minnie Mouse your neighbors, Joey and Stacy? North Carolina, Brett in the house. Hello. Vicky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Fun fact culinary about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is they put French fries in their sandwiches and on their salads, and it's insanely amazing. There's a famous place called Primanti's. I think I pronounced that right. Vicky, did I pronounce it right? Primanti's. Shelly from Waco, Texas. Wow, we got a lot of Texas. You guys follow me from the plane back to New York City. I love it. Joe from San Diego over there too. Hi, Joe from San Diego. San Diego has the best weather. It is beautiful and palm trees all year long. Well, it's good to see you guys. Please still write and introduce yourself into the chat as well too. Yes, you did. It's pretty great. Yes. All right, Vicky. It is great. Anything you throw French fries into a sandwich is amazing. I love it. I love it. Well, welcome. Welcome to all of you guys. It's really great to have you here. And for all my Texas people, one of the things I love about Texas so much is it's a lot like New York City in one way. You are so passionate about your state and where you live, and us New Yorkers are so passionate, and you're so passionate about your food, and we're so passionate about our food. And we went for barbecue, and there's barbecue in the city. And they call it Texas barbecue, but nothing prepared me for the food amazingness of the barbecue that we had. It was so freaking good. OMG. It would turn a vegan into a meat eater. It was that good. It was really good. Hi, Marcy from Saratoga, California in the house. And then for my Cali people, I talk about this every time, but I also had In-N-Out burger because there's an In-N-Out in Austin, Texas, and I was so excited about it. I had like the animal style, if you know what that is. It's the sauce with the caramelized onions in there. So anyway, back in New York, back in the big city, ready to go. I'm going to be using barbecue seasonings and all my stuff for the next week. And here, hi, Gail from Chicago. Great pizza in Chicago. So here we go. We're going to do for National Coffee Day. One of my favorite holidays is National Coffee Day. Even when it's cold, I like an iced coffee. Even in the snow and below zero in New York City, I'm carrying around an iced coffee. It's a true story. So this holiday is going to be so awesome. And I have a fun trick about when you're making coffee rubs. So what we're going to do today, to get right to it, we are going to make a coffee rubbed steak. And then we're going to take Labneh, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong. I never pronounce it right, but it doesn't matter because what it really is like, what people call it, is yogurt cheese. Yogurt cheese. Oh, my God. It's so good. And we're going to mix it with some garlic and some seasonings. It's going to be delish. And then we're going to have these pearls of pomegranates for a pop and a tanginess with some mint. And it's just going to look, we went to culinary school today to make this. So we're going to start out with our mise en place. So I want to go in sections with this one. So we're going to start to make our steak first, right? Then we're going to take it, and while our steak is cooking in the oven, we're going to make our yogurt schmear that we're going to put on the bottom, and then our pearls of mint and olive oil. So the first thing you want to do is set your oven to 400 degrees right now. Set your oven to 400 degrees right now. And then you want to get a pan that can fit in the oven too, that a pan without a wooden handle, that has a metal handle, or a pan like this, like a saute pan you'd make risotto with, or you would take butter. If you've been to my classes before, we've butter basted steak before. One of these pans, because this is gonna cook on the stove. Cook on the stove top, but then go in the oven at the end. So we're gonna talk about our rub first. The rubs first. If we go to the sky cam, I moved the camera like 12 times while we're waiting here. So let's see if I can get this to even itself out a little bit. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a barbecue rub here, okay? We're going to make a rub that's going to be a coffee rub. I'm sorry about that. But the first thing we need to know about this is we're going to use ButcherBox seasoning. I am not getting paid extra for this. The seasoning is just amazing. This is an anything seasoning. You can use it on steak. You can use it on fish. It's great on chicken. But everyone who's seen this class, seen any of my classes, I say this every single time. Sea salt is literally one of the first ingredients. And what I love about that is that if you go into your cabinet, most rubs don't have salt as the ingredient. So use these great seasoning salts, these great seasonings, and then you're like, why doesn't it taste good? And salt is like a flavor enhancer. We got garlic, we've got some sugar cane, we've got onion powder in there as well too. It's amazing. So this is what we're going to need, is some of this as well too. So what I'd like to start is I'm going to explain to you the seasonings. Okay. So if you don't have this, Catherine, which you should definitely get it. We'll put the link in the bio in here for you. If you don't have it, you're going to also grab out your garlic powder, for this one, and your onion powder. Okay, so your garlic powder and your onion powder, because we're going to have salt in this as well too. So just your garlic powder and your onion powder are going to add to this list. And you're going to do about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and all these other seasonings. And I'm going to go slow while you go get that, Catherine, from your cabinet. So we're starting out with our ButcherBox seasoning, obviously, right here. And then I always, because how I started at this company, the ButcherBox headquarters, is through Truffle Shuffle, and they're part of ButcherBox. And I'm using Truffle Shuffle salt just to add a little bit of nuttiness. If you don't have this, use regular salt, obviously, as well. But I'm just proud of where I work, and I wanted to show you what that was for you. So let's make the rub first. So 2 things need to be happening. First of all, oven at 400 degrees, because we needed a really hot oven and ready to go when we're ready to go. And we need to, if you haven't taken your steaks out of the fridge, you had 2 filet mignons. They're from France here, not literally, just the name. And you're going to take them out and leave them out. We want to keep them out as long as possible. I've had this out for about an hour, but the cooler the steaks are, room water, room temperature they are, the better this recipe is going to come out. So let's start out with what we need to do. So I'm just going to start with one of the bottom ingredients here, but this is about a tablespoon of brown sugar. I just put that right in there at the base of it. And now we're going to go back to the top. So before we start making this rub, I have a fun tip for you. Since it's National Coffee Day, so we're not sponsored by this coffee brand, but I do really love this. This is instant coffee. So I'm using instant coffee instead of regular coffee grounds, right? I have both because I love coffee, but I'm using instant coffee for one specific reason over regular coffee. Do you guys know what that reason is? What is the reason why I'm using instant coffee instead of regular coffee? Do you want to try to take a gander at this? And put it in the comments. If you don't know, it's okay, because I didn't know until I started researching this recipe about this, because I was like, wow, I really love instant coffee. So could I use that instead? And then I figured it out. So do you guys know? If you don't know, it's okay. We'll give it like a second for you. But if you know why you should use instant coffee instead of regular coffee, let me know. We'll go back to here. I'm going to give you a second, but I'm going to explain that to you. So we'll go back to the sky cam over here so we can see it. So we have our brown sugar in here, and what we're going to do is add 2 tablespoons of coffee. And I'm from New York, so I say coffee. There's a off in it. I have a coffee and my chocolate and my water all in there. So I have my coffee in there. So we haven't heard from anyone yet. Why? So I'm going to tell you. Okay, so the reason why you're using instant coffee instead of regular coffee is because instant coffee grounds are made to dissolve quicker, because you have to dissolve them in hot water and drink it right away. They also have less moisture in them as well too, so they're a little bit drier in there. Fresh ground, fresh or grade different. I could sleep tonight. Yes, you could totally use that too. Do not worry about that. It doesn't matter whether it's decaf or regular coffee, because even at decaf, it's fine. It just takes out the caffeine, but not the flavor. Okay, so instant coffee is going to dissolve quicker and it's drier. So if you use regular fresh coffee grounds, they burn quicker because it doesn't dissolve as easily. So you get a more bitter flavor in a rub. If you use instant coffee, it doesn't burn as easily because we're going to sear this with the oven. So you really get that rich, deep roasted flavor into your recipe. Whereas with regular coffee grounds, it burns quicker and it just gets bitter. So if you don't think you like coffee rubbed stuff, which I used to not like coffee rubbing my ribs or my steak, once you start with the instant coffee, you'll love it because you won't get that big bitter flavor anymore in it. So we got our sugar, We got our instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of instant coffee in there. We have our sugar in there. So 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of coffee. And let's get a little smoky in here. So the next ones right here are going to be cumin right there, a teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon of paprika. And they add this like nice smokiness to our thing, which is really good because coffee could be a slight bit bitter. So if you add the smokiness to it, it balances it out really nicely. And it helps with that bitterness, especially if you're using regular coffee grounds into there as well too. We're going to use salt and pepper. So if you're using regular salt, you're going to use a teaspoon. If you're using truffle shuffle salt, a half a teaspoon and a teaspoon of pepper into there. I'll go back over this again with you guys, but if you're doing this with me, you want to go along with that too. And then the star of the show, our coworker for me, Roxy and Francine, the ButcherBox Everything Seasoning. And this has the garlic powder, the onion powder, and all that stuff in there. And again, if you're doing this, if you don't have our ButcherBox seasoning, just grab a teaspoon of both garlic powder and onion powder in there for you. So just to go back over what we have in here, we have a tablespoon of the ButcherBox seasoning, favorite ButcherBox seasoning right there. We have a tablespoon of brown sugar, and then they're all teaspoons. Paprika, black pepper, cumin, and salt are all a teaspoon of that. And then our star of the show is 2 tablespoons of the coffee. So we are just going to mix this up. And you want to mix this up really good. That brown sugar probably needs to be broken apart. And I'm probably talking more than it takes to make this actual recipe. Literally, you're going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. So that's about 6 minutes. And then maybe depending how thick your steak is, you're going to only cook it for about 5 minutes 5 to 8 minutes actually in the oven. So it's amazing. Okay. I'm going to take this out right there, and we're going to put the steaks over here so you can see it. Let me just put this back over here for now. Voila. So here are our steaks right here. I'm going to move this so you can see it. And then what I like to do whenever I have a rub is before I rub it on the actual meat, I like to actually just massage it. Give it a little bit of a massage in there and really run my fingers through it to just get everything nicely incorporated, especially because you have that brown sugar. And brown sugar, you don't want clumps of sugar, sweetness, and just clumps of smoky paprika. You want it all to mix together so it does everything that it can to be the best rub it can actually be. And, you could take this and make double. And you can put this in the Ziploc bag and freeze it. And then you have, because it has the brown sugar, you definitely should put it in the freezer so it doesn't go bad. But then you'll have rub anytime you want it right in there. And then let's just do this real quick. I just want to go like this. Ready? Oh, it smells smoky and sweet. And it has that little bite from the pepper. And then that cumin gives that sort of barbecue nod to it that's also smoky, but almost smells like a taco on a grill. It's so good. Oh, so good. So how are we all doing so far? Can I get some emojis to know we're doing really well? And Catherine, you're doing good as well too. I don't want you to lose sleep tonight, so make sure that you're using that decaf. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my rub on here. And normally I say to you, put the seasoning high so that you get put the seasoning on high like this and go really high up so you evenly distribute the seasoning. But when you're doing a rub, you don't need to do that. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Shireen. Thank you, G-Cam. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, guys. But you don't need to go high with the seasoning. If you're making like just a salt and pepper or just using the ButcherBox seasoning, you want to season it really high so that it evenly distributes all over the steak. But when you're doing a rub, just plop it on top of the steak because you're literally going to rub it. You're going to rub it in just like that. You're just going to rub it in. Oh, I just love those flecks of all that flavor right there. We're going to rub it in. And you want to be really generous with your rub. So this recipe says for 4. I only did 2 for this one. I literally just got off the plane and they only gave me 2, but you could do 4 with this as well. The max in the pan, I think, would be 4. So, and then I take why I use a plate is I go around the plate and I season the sides by just going around and grabbing all that seasoning that was missed. Because what if you season the top and the bottom of the steak, but you don't season the sides? You lose out on flavor for that as well too. And then we're going to do this again. And I'm going to actually use all this rub. I'm going to do this with another type of steak in there. And I'm going to just rub this all in. So you can actually do this the night before. If you wanted to, you could season your steak the night before, leave it on this plate, do not cover it, and put it in the refrigerator overnight. And the seasoning will seep through the center of the steak, not just the outside of the steak. Whenever I'm making for the holidays, like a rib roast, or you're making a turkey, you can dry rub it. You just put lots of salt all over it and leave it in the refrigerator uncovered, and you get like a quick dry rub to your steak. For this one, obviously we're not going to wait till overnight, because then you'd have to come back and you wouldn't get to enjoy the show. But we're going to start with that. So I'm going to just wash my hands from the rub, and because I touched the steak itself. But with this being said, you could take this rub and you can actually use it on a ribeye or a New York strip steak as well. If you were doing a New York strip or a ribeye, instead of following the cooking instructions for this, it's still a tablespoon of oil. But then you're going to flip it every 30 seconds for about a minute and a half. I'm sorry, for every 30 seconds for about 2.5 minutes. So if you're using a thicker cut steak, when you get to this part, if you did this with ribeye or New York strip, when we go to cook it, you're just going to flip it every 30 seconds on high with a tablespoon of oil to get about 2.5 minutes, and you don't need to put it in the oven. So just so you know, this rub works for anything. This rub actually would be really good with chicken thighs, and sear it on the grill really well. Oh my God. Okay, but Brent, we got a question. Why would you not cover the rub steak? That is an excellent question. And I am so glad you asked that question, because you want the air to circulate around it. That cold air circulating around the steak helps the seasoning distribute into the actual steak itself. And it's just like when you go to a fancy steakhouse, right? Especially in New York City or Chicago. I saw a bunch of, and Texas, of course. That's where the steak comes from. And when they do like dry aging of steak, they leave it out and cold circulating air. So since we're trying to get a quick dry age on our steak, if you leave the steak out without covering it, you get a better chance of the distribution of that seasoning, and taking out some of that moisture out of that steak. Also, if you cover it, the moisture gets trapped on that saran wrap and just comes right back onto your steak as well too. So Brent, that's what you want to do. Whenever I make a ribeye or a New York strip steak, I always season it with lots of salt and put on a plate overnight, and it just makes it taste so good, and you save money because you're already getting good quality steak from ButcherBox. But, dry aged steak, like fancy kind, costs a fortune. When you have good quality steak like a ButcherBox steak, you're already getting that awesome flavor and that marbling. So just adding that salt overnight really helps. Well, thank you. That was an awesome question. I appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to take, these steaks just look so pretty. They look like they're ready for the prom, don't they? I love these steaks. Okay, so I feel like every class I get out my pan. This is my favorite pan, by the way. I love this pan for risotto. I love this pan in general. I'm going to try to move this so you can see everything and you don't see my messy kitchen. There we go, right there. By messy, I don't mean dirty. I just mean that I literally live in New York City and I cook for a living, so I have 300 pots just hanging out everywhere and like 12,000 bowls to mix in. Okay, perfect. So we're going to start cooking the steak first. So we have our oven at 400 degrees. We are going to turn our heat all the way to high, and then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of oil. So this one, we're going to use a neutral oil, which means a high cooking oil, which is like a canola oil or an avocado oil, something in that nature, because of the high smoke point. Because we're actually going to take this steak and leave it for 2 to 3 minutes. So unlike with the other steaks we've done in other classes, we're flipping it every 30 seconds because it's just a quick 2.5 minutes. That's it. So the oil doesn't have enough time to burn. But because we're going to go 2 to 3 minutes per side on this one, we want to use a neutral oil or a high smoking oil. So that's why I'm using a canola oil today instead of the avocado oils I normally use, but I am going to use the avocado oils eventually. And if you do have an avocado oil, just so you know, this one actually is sponsored by us. Graza makes a really good one that's a sizzle oil. Yes, exactly. Susan, together we win. Together we win. That's literally what I was going to say. So you can use the sizzle oil, and that will really hold up really well as well too. But as I said, I live in New York City, and I am going to cause this to smoke already because there's sugar in this and everything like that. So I'm going to stick with just the oils I know. And with that being said, if we could put this only onto this one right here, just the one camera onto here, I want to show you something on this as well too, so you can see what it looks like. But you're going to look to see how it's starting to splatter like that a little bit. What we want to do is we want it to smoke. And as it smokes, it is going to tell us that it's ready for our steaks to come out as it smokes. So because this is a very high thing, and I told you I live in an apartment, I'm actually going to open the door just a little bit over there so I don't smoke out the camera. And here we go. We're going to take our steaks. Voila, here we go. And we're going to put them right in here. So these steaks are going to cook 2 to 3 minutes per side. I have very thin steaks here, so I'm going to just do 2 minutes per side on this, and then it's going to go in the oven. So let me just get out my thing. Do you hear that? That's your steaks clapping for you and giving you a standing ovation because you're so awesome. Listen for signs. I really believe there's signs in the universe where the universe is telling you it's going to be okay, and this is always one of them. Who doesn't want to get cheered on throughout the day? And this is one of those times. You've had a long day. For us, for most of us, it's Sunday night. I know in California and Texas, it's a little bit earlier right now. Had a long day, and it's Sunday. You're going to have work on Monday. So you really just want to feel the vibes of happiness. And this is what I love about cooking is right here, right now. So you could get these tied up if you want to. Another technique class, we could show you how to tie these steaks. That's why they look a little flat like this. But you're going to go about 2 to 3 minutes per side on this. And if you could be in my kitchen right now, you can smell that beefy smokiness just dancing on that pan and filling up with a beef candle right now for us. It's so amazing. So in case you missed it, we did coffee, cumin, paprika, our favorite ButcherBox seasoning as well too. It's basically almost teaspoons of everything except for the coffee and the brown sugar. And if you don't have this, someone asked, which you should definitely get it. There's also a lemon pepper one that I obsessed with, and every recipe I do for ButcherBox always has lemon pepper. You can substitute a teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder as well too. So we're just waiting for our 2 minutes. We're at about 1 minute and 36 right now. If you have a thicker steak, if your steak is about this thick instead of this thick, if it's about this thick over there, about 2 inches thick, then you're going to definitely want to go for about the 3 minutes. But the thing is about this is all we're doing on this part is getting a sear. We're getting those caramelizing. There's some sugar both in the ButcherBox has sugar in it as cane sugar, and we put brown sugar in there. And then the natural sugars of that steak are going to caramelize and get this really good crust on the steak. So really that's what we're just trying to do right here. Let me just flip this. It might have gotten a little dark right there. That's okay. That's from the sugar. That's from the sugar. That's just flavor right there. And we're going to wait for another 1.5 minutes, I think, on this because I talked a little bit longer than the steak needed. And then what we're going to do is put this in the oven. And you're going to go, Carolyn, we're going to put this in the oven for 3. This is where it matters, the thickness of the steak. We're going to go for about 5 to 8 minutes. So if you have a thicker steak, you want to go about 6-7 minutes and then try it. For this steak, I'm going to just go about 3 minutes. And I purposely got a thinner steak so that I could teach you what to do without it being too much. You also only put a tiny bit of oil in here because if you put too much oil in this, you're going to smoke everything up. But when you put it in the oven, it's just going to be really oily. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is putting tons of oil when they're searing a steak. And then your steak just tastes really, really oily. And especially if you're going to butter paste your steak, you don't want oil and butter in there. Okay. So if you're doing this right now, you want to go about 2 to 3 minutes. I would say 2 minutes is enough, no matter how thick your steak is for this, because you have lots of sugar from the brown sugar and stuff, and that's where that brownness comes in there. But now, this is where it matters. If you have a thicker steak, this has to stay in longer. If you have a thinner steak, it goes less. So it's going to be 5 to 8 minutes. You're going to take this and put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 5 to 8 minutes. So I'm actually going to do this probably for a little less than 5 minutes for mine because it's a thin steak. But that's what you do next. So set your timer. About 5 to 8 minutes is what's next. It's in the oven at 400 degrees. You want kind of an internal temperature of 125 degrees or like a medium rare. But what I actually, for a filet, especially when you have that kind of crust, I go a little bit over the rare. I know you're not supposed to do that. It's controversial, but I like mine to be a little bit more well done when it's a filet. But the thing about a filet, why we did the process we did, why we did a very, very flavorful, robust sort of seasoning on this is because filet doesn't have a lot of fat. Like a ribeye or a New York strip steak has a lot of fat. So it bastes in that fat as it cooks and adds a lot of flavor to it. A filet is a lot of just meat. There's not a lot of marbling of fat in there. So you need to add extra flavor to it. So searing the steak first before it goes in the oven is so important. And adding the ButcherBox seasoning is like peppery wonderfulness, and then adding some smoky cumin and some smoky paprika and the coffee just add this bitter sweetness so that when you cut into the steak, even though it's going to be juicy, you need a flavor bomb to kind of make it taste really good. Whereas the New York strip, you could just put truffle salt, lemon pepper from ButcherBox, and that's it, and call it a day. When you have a filet, it has less fat, so you need to add the flavor. So that's why when you go to a restaurant, they have the flavor rubs on a filet. It's just so it tastes really good because you're not basting with anything. So I'm going to close this because we didn't smoke up the apartment today, which is something I do all the time. Okay, and while that's in there, we are going to make our next thing. We are going to make the labneh. So this is called yogurt cheese, and it's called yogurt cheese for a reason. They take whole milk or whole milk, it's Middle Eastern yogurt, and they strain it really well, almost like Greek yogurt. So it gets almost like this cheesy consistency spread, like cream cheese consistency, and it's really, really tangy. And I love it. And it's a nice substitute for Greek yogurt. It's actually good because there's lots of probiotics and prebiotics, so it helps your gut as well too. And the last part is you smear it on the plate because you got that robust, smoky sort of seasoning, and then you smear it on that tangy yogurt, and it just adds these like flavor bombs of flavors in you, and it's an acidic, so it's almost like when you put lemon juice and stuff on something. So I'm gonna go get the rest of my stuff. I just want to peek at my steak. I love the steak, and I left the yogurt in here on purpose. I don't know if you can see you can't see it. I have tons of food in my fridge. So this is what it looks like. It looks just like Greek yogurt. It's just strained really, really well. You can use a goat's milk cheese, things like that. They sell this at the supermarkets as well too. The same place that Truffle Shuffle sells their salts and their truffle carpaccio, Whole Foods, they also have labneh. It's not by Truffle Shuffle, but you can definitely get it at most grocery stores. Look how thick. It almost looks like whipped cream, and it really tastes tangy. It tastes like they poured tons of lemon in there, but there's no lemon in there at all. So you can substitute this with Greek yogurt if you want to. Carolyn, I think I answered this, but just to make sure I did, if you have a thicker filet, I'd probably go more towards the 7-minute mark for a thicker filet. So mise en place again, which means everything in place. So what we're going to need for the labneh is we're going to need the labneh, the actual yogurt. I actually did this before. But if you didn't do this, I actually took, if we go to the sky cam a second, I actually roasted some garlic. It's in the actual recipe. It's actually not my recipe. I'm covering for another chef. And when I heard about this, I was so excited because I love making this stuff. So there's the roasted garlic. So I just took garlic cloves, put in olive oil, salt, pepper, oregano, a little bit of red pepper flakes. I covered it up 400 degrees for about an hour. I'm sorry, I did 350 for about an hour. I like it to go a little low and slow on there, but 400 degrees for about 40 minutes if you want to go faster with it. But if you don't want to do this, or a fast tip for this is you actually could just chop up garlic and on a low heat, saute it with a little bit of olive oil and some salt. And then when it gets mushy, you could just chop it really fine and put it in here. And that works as a quick tip too. That's why on the recipe it says you could saute garlic or you can roast the garlic. So to roast the garlic, 350 for about an hour. I like it to go a little bit longer with about some olive oil and all that stuff in there. If you're not going to roast it, just grab a pan real quick, olive oil, about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then you're going to put like 5 cloves of garlic, but chop it up so that it cooks really fast, and keep it on a low heat so it doesn't burn, and saute it for like 3-4 minutes on very low heat. And then you're just going to take the garlic out and chop it, and you put it into here as well too. So, but I used the roasted garlic. I felt like I wanted a nice candle of the garlic smell in my apartment. And I'm going to take out this roasted garlic. So I use a lot of garlic because garlic is one of my favorite things in the entire world. But you don't need to use a lot of garlic in here. I'm also hitting the 5-minute mark here on my steak. So let's look at what this looks like. I'm going to take it out now so you guys can see it. I am so excited about the steak, by the way. I think I can get it just like this. Oh my Lord. Look at that steak. Can we go back to the sky cam? Look at how cool that steak is. It is like so fabulously awesome right there. I am like so excited to eat the steak. So we're going to just take that steak, and I'm actually going to put the steak to the side over here so that it can just rest. So we want the steak to rest for about 5 minutes. The other thing about look at that. You see that beautiful steak right there? It's waving hello to us and telling us dinner's almost ready right there. So we want to let the steak rest. So when you get a filet, a couple things that I'd like to say is, Susan, real quick. So I just wrapped it in parchment paper because I had no more tinfoil left. But you're really technically supposed to wrap your garlic in tinfoil. And then you tinfoil some oil, some salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, oregano, 350 for an hour. If you're doing it where you're just sauteing and there's no parchment paper, you just chop up the garlic, throw it into the pan, and you're going to just cook it on really low heat. But for roasted garlic, it's 350 for about an hour with a bunch of garlic cloves, or you could take a whole garlic and cut it in half and expose it with the skin, olive oil, salt, pepper, oregano, and some red pepper flakes. Just a little seasoning on it I like to do to kind of help it as well too. So hopefully that helps for you. So our steaks are resting right over there. I'm going to take our roasted garlic and I'm just going to smash it down into a beautiful, beautiful paste just like this. And then the skins get a little char. So I definitely want to get some of that skin in there. If we were doing this in a restaurant, obviously you would take the skin out and just eat it yourself with the top of the garlic clove, so it would look prettier. But since it's for home, it could look a little rustic. And then you take that right there. And I just want you to see this. This is like liquid gold. 350, wrap it in tinfoil, salt and pepper, and that is a paste of beautiful flavor. That literally is going to go right in here, just like that. Just right into there, just like that. You're going to just take all your roasted garlic right into there, just like that. So that's the first thing that you're going to do with that. The second thing I'm going to do is actually take my lemon, and I'm going to put lemon juice in there as well too. But I always say you have a free ingredient, which is your lemon zest, which actually has more flavor than the actual lemon juice itself. So I get a microplane just like that. And then I'm just going to take half of it and just zest it in there. Just rub it across just like that. and you're gonna get these specks of lemon confetti in there. It's not in the recipe, so you don't have to do this. But I always think that the more acidity you can have with like a steak that has like a big bold rub, acidity is like sunshine on a cloudy day. It actually makes like really heavy flavors taste really good. And see, you can see those little specks of the yellow in there as well too. And then we're going to cut this in half. So you don't need a lot of lemon for this. So I'm only going to use half. And then when you're squeezing a lemon, I have a cookbook called 101 Secrets to save money, time, and clean up in the kitchen. And one of the things that people told me over the years from cooking is that, oh, thank you, it's right up there if you guys want to buy it. I appreciate that. One thing people told me stresses them out the most in the kitchen is having to fish out the seeds from the lemon. And it's a really easy hack. You just take the lemon, cut side up, squeeze it, cut side up, and then all of the seeds stay in the actual lemon so that you don't have to worry about it. So it just stays just so nicely there. I have roasted garlic and lemon literally on my hands, and I'm loving every minute of this. So now we have our lemon juice, our roasted garlic, and we have the lemon zest in there. And now we're just going to add some salt. And of course, I'm going to use truffle shuffle salt because it's nutty, fabulous in there, but you can just use regular salt. And you want to use a big pinch. And a big pinch is actually 3 fingers. So not 2 fingers, 3 fingers. And this is not a full big pinch because I don't want to waste any of the salt. It's going to end up on my computer. So a big pinch is you go in with the claws, just like this, like that, and grab a big pinch. That's a chef's pinch, is you go with big claws just like this, and you grab it in to season it just like that. So you get tons of salt in there as well. And I think I need a little bit more. All right, right there. I like it very salty. So, and then what you're going to do, if we go to the sky cam real quick, I'm going to show you me mixing this so you can see all the flavors right here. So if you see all the flavors, I'm going to take that roasted garlic. You got that roasted garlic, that lemon. You've got the salt in there, the lemon juice. And labneh is very, very tangy on its own. So is Greek yogurt. Can be very tangy on its own. So you're already getting that tangy sort of citrusy flavor from it. It's like Greek's yogurt on steroids. Just adding that caramelized garlic just gives that an extra sweet note to it. The lemon just brings out all that flavor, and then that salt all together just gives you, and this is what they call yogurt cheese. Look how cool that is. It's so good. So good, so good, so good, so good. And I just cannot resist. It's just me cooking for this. I'm using my fingers. Oh, it almost is like sour cream, Middle Eastern sour cream, because it got that really big tanginess to it. And it's so creamy. It's like Greek yogurt that went on vacation and lost some water to it. And then that lemon just adds that brightness for it. And you get those garlic. The garlic, my favorite flavor in the world. Never trust someone who doesn't like garlic. The garlic in there as well, too. Unless you're allergic to it, because I know some people have been allergic. Then you can use onions instead. Just caramelize some onions right into there. So this is just going to sit over here for a second. But later, I'm just going to take a spoon and just eat all of this. I'm not even waiting till dinner. And then our last thing that we have to do, and just so you know, the reason why I'm stalling a little bit is we're trying to make sure that our steak, the juices redistribute into the steak. Like I said before, with a filet, it's not that juicy. It doesn't have the fat. So you want to put a good rub on it. You want to make sure you cook it in the oven, a sear for crust, cook in the oven, and then you want to make sure it rests. This is the most important steak to make sure it rests because it's the most delicate steak. So the more juice you get to keep in that steak, the better. So we're going to do our last thing in here, which I am going to use this one right here for it, is we're going to do our pomegranates for this. And I took out my pomegranates. So we're going to just take some pomegranates and throw it in there just like that. So we're taking our pomegranates in there. We're going to take some mint. And I actually, even though it's not called for the recipe, I'm going to take the mint from the actual and put it right on top of where I smashed the garlic. And then you're going to take your mint. You want to take out, if you can, any of the stems from mint because other stems are okay, but mint stems are a little bit bitter, as much as you can. It's okay if you don't get all of it in there. And then you're going to take your mint and kind of crunch it up just like that into a big ball, just like that. And then when you cut herbs, you're not a judge. No order in the court for you. This is not TikTok. We're not doing ASMR. You don't need to make a lot of noise. Think vacation. Rowing the boat. I row my boat gently down the Labneh stream. So if you go like this, all of the oils from your herbs are going to end up on your cutting board instead of in your food. If you go like this, you're going to cut it nicely, and you're going to keep all that mint flavor actually in the mint instead of on the cutting board, okay? If you cut it where I see people do this, and I am also, because if you go look, I'm a Chop Happy if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. If you watch me, I sometimes do that for the sound, but really when I'm cooking for friends or for the holidays, I definitely row on my boat because I definitely want as much flavor as I possibly can have in there. And then you're just going to take it and you're going to throw your mint in there. You're supposed to measure, but because I am a home cook, I just did about a handful of that pomegranate and the mint. And the last part, someone mentioned this. One of the things I love about Graza oil is they have a drizzle and they have a sizzle. It's almost like Snoop Dogg, drizzle, sizzle. So the drizzle one is a more fruity olive oil, and this is one that you don't cook with, and it just has this great extra peppery bite of fruitiness in there, and you're gonna put that in there just a little bit. It's almost like we're making a Middle Eastern salsa. A little bit of salt in there, a mini pinch in there of our truffle salt. You can use regular salt in there, and then you're literally just gonna mix it up just like that. And this is going to be pearls of deliciousness. And again, if you missed it, I'm using, this brightness of these pomegranates with the mint, along with the labneh of the cheese for acidity, because the steak is going to have so much flavor. You want to get the bite through it. And then let's see, Carolyn, can you please say remind me how high the temp of the steak should be in the oven, medium rare, 125 degrees. But if you have a thick or thin steak, if you have a thin steak, just 5 minutes, I'm sorry. If you have a thick steak, I would go the full 8 minutes. But even if you overcook this steak, do not worry because the flavors are so amazing. It's going to work out really well. This is kind of a foolproof steak for you. So hopefully that helps. If you tell me how thick your steak is, I could tell you exactly how much to do that. Also, if you're cooking this now, please tag at Chop Happy. Please tag ButcherBox as well, too, and Truffle Shuffle. We want to see what you make so we can see this. So I'm going to plate this in a second. I'm going to take one of our steaks out right over here, and I'm just going to go like this. And then remember, against the grain. So my grains are going like this of the meat, so you want to go against it. And I like to cut this really thin, just like that. So I have a really thin steak, but if you have a really thick steak, you'll get like this beautiful fillets that are going to go on there just so beautifully. And because I let this rest, you notice no juice is coming out at all from this. And juices flavor for this as well too. And I remember I said I like mine a little bit more well done on there because we're getting like that rub into there. So that's why mine looks like that. And that's why I chose a thinner steak. I also wanted to be able to show you everything that we were doing. So right in there, voila. I'm going to try the steak. And then I'm going to show you how to set this up. Ready? Oh, it almost tastes chocolatey because that coffee didn't burn because we used instant coffee espresso. We had lots of sugar from that brown sugar, which usually used for baking. So it gave that sweetness to it. We had the ButcherBox Everything Seasoning, gave that peppery, garlicky, oniony bite to it. It is really hard to make a really good filet because you're always, when you're making other steaks, it's always so fatty. I know I keep telling you that, but it really makes a big difference. So I'm going to show you now how we're going to do this. So I'm going to try not to burn my wooden cutting board. Make this look really pretty for us right there. If I set the thing on fire, I apologize. Right there. And I'm going to clean this plate up. I'm going to be fancy tonight. Tonight, we're going to be fancy. That steak is so good. Oh, man, rub is insane in the membrane. I wish I'm the one who came up with that rub seasoning. I'm calling the chef later and asking if I can if he trademarked that because that was so good. So you have your beautiful plate. You have your labneh right there. And we're going to take a big smear of it, big spoonful of it, just like that. And then you rub like that. You make it really pretty, just like that. Then you'll have bigger, thick slices than I will, but you take your steak and you lay it out just like that, like steak soldiers. I have a thermometer. Okay, Rob, but you don't really need the thermometer either. Don't worry about that. You can actually just go for about 5 minutes. I am very odd. I like a very rare steak, except for when it comes to this steak. And ironically, you should always cook this steak medium rare. So I'm a very rare chef for this part. Okay, I'm gonna take some of this. I need to use a spoon. This is just so pretty. We need to get this right. Okay, so here we go. I'm taking my pomegranates and I'm going to throw it all over there. I like this to be nice and juicy, just like that. And then you get this beautiful, beautiful steak. It almost looks like Christmas, doesn't it? This would be a beautiful Christmas meal as well, too. So yours is going to be rarer than mine. My steak's not very rare. And again, I did it on purpose. But a couple of just tips again for if you guys are ready to order from ButcherBox some of those fillets. Make a good rub. We have some really good rubs here. We have our everything seasoning rub. We have our barbecue rub would be good for this if you don't want to make a full rub out of this. You can even use a lemon pepper rub, but I think a barbecue or the everything rub would be the best for this. So you can skip all the other stuff if you want. Season it really well. 2 to 3 minutes, sear on both sides on high with oil in the oven to 5 to 8 minutes. Comes out. If you don't have labneh, you can use Greek yogurt. Rob, I'm cheering you on. I know that steak's gonna come out of that oven amazingly. You can use Greek yogurt if you don't have labneh and just garlic in there and lemon and all that stuff. Oh, doesn't it taste, Catherine? It tastes delish. Doesn't it have like there's no cocoa in it, but it has like chocolate notes to it, doesn't it? It almost has like a mole smokiness to it. So you can just make this with some lemon juice, garlic powder, Greek yogurt if you wanted to. And then, of course, you do not want to forget pearls of pomegranate and mint into there as well, too. Thank you, Carolyn. That's awesome. So make sure you guys tag us in this. So before we go, I'm just going to do one more, a handheld version of this. I'm going to just dip it right into there. Okay, just like that. We get some mint so I can get all of it just like that. Look how cute that looks. It looks amazing. It makes me want it to be Christmas in New York City. Oh, I need a minute. I know the class is over in a second, but that's insane in the membrane. And that creaminess that you get from that yogurt and the tanginess. Oh, so good. Okay, look at our class schedule. We have amazing chefs that are going to teach classes every Sunday. I'll be back next month. I'm so grateful to be here. And I want to say one thing. I want to shout out again to Roxy and Francine. And I want to say, I hope your week is as delicious and as fabulous as this recipe is. And I hope that you have pockets of joy, just like the pomegranates bursting in your mouth as you eat this meal. I'm super grateful for you. Happy cooking and have a great week. And thank you. And DJ, Roxy, and Francine, take us out. There you go.